Good morning, Year 4. Hope you're all okay and had a really good weekend. This video is going to go through your writing task for this week. So this week is a bit different. You're going to be writing and creating a comic strip. So it's a bit more exciting, I guess. Slightly less writing, a bit more drawing this week. So hopefully you'll enjoy doing this week's writing task. So your success criteria for this task is to use third person, exciting descriptive language, fronted adverbials and parenthesis, and we'll go through those in a bit more detail in a minute. So as I said, you're writing a comic book strip. It's going to be based on a short film called Marshmallows. It's quite a short video, I think it's 2 minutes, and you're going to create your comic strip based on what happens in the video. So as usual, there's a kind of a set plan which you can stick to if you would like to, or if you have another structure that works better, do that instead. There is a plan here which you can use if you'd like to for your comic strip. It just kind of goes through how you describe the main characters, what's going to be at the beginning, the middle and the end of your comic book strip, and then which fronted adverbials you might use throughout it. So it's just kind of to get all your ideas down in a structured way before you write up your comic strip. So as I said, we are writing a comic book strip. What key features do you think are in a comic strip? So think about when we looked at mouse, bird, snake, wolf in school. That was laid out like a comic strip, and we had a discussion, and we even created our own comic strips with your pictures in them, if you remember. So have a think back to that. I know it was a long time ago. Think about what key features might be used in a comic strip. Might want to pause the video and have a think. So hopefully you took a little trip down memory lane and you remembered when we created our own comic book strips. So a comic strip, it has lots of pictures, okay, so that's the main thing of it. You have pictures or drawings, and you have, it depends on the comic, but you have boxes where it explains what's happening in the pictures. Some comics don't have any boxes, they just have speech bubbles and things, but the one we're creating, it should have boxes next to the pictures to explain what's happening. It's going to have lots of speech bubbles and onomatopoeias, so things like wham you can see here, and bam and things like that. So an onomatopoeia is a word that sounds like the sound. So that's kind of what a comic strip should look like, but there's lots of different types and things, so you don't have to worry about making sure it looks like this one, and I have made a waggle, so we'll be able to look at mine in a minute. So referring back to the success criteria, you have to use some descriptive language. Here are just some ideas which you could use. So exciting adjectives, use your alternative adjective sheet or a thesaurus for that. Similes, expanded noun phrases, onomatopoeias, which you should use anyway because it's a comic strip, and alliterations. So this we've been through before, so I'm not going to go through this in too much detail. The next thing, fronted adverbials, you know what those are. Those are where you include them at the beginning of a sentence, and then you put a comma after them and finish your sentence. I've put this document on the website if you want to use it, if you need some ideas on which fronted adverbials to use. So hopefully that helps. And lastly, parenthesis. Now, a couple of weeks ago, you used this in your writing. Just to recap, parentheses just add a bit of extra information to a sentence or a paragraph, but the sentence should still make sense without the parentheses in it, and you can use brackets, dashes or commas for it. So as you can see below, I've used 3 examples. They're the same sentence, but I've just used different punctuation for the parentheses just to show how you can use it differently. So it says the girl who had brown hair was waiting at the bus stop. So the sentence would still make sense without the parentheses, because it would say the girl was waiting at the bus stop. However, the parenthesis is adding more information. So the parenthesis in this sentence is who had brown hair, and you can add that in using commas like in the first sentence, brackets which are in the second, or dashes like in the third sentence. So I would like you now to pause the video and have a think if you can come up with your own sentence using parenthesis. Hopefully you were able to come up with your own sentence. So now we've kind of gone through quickly the success criteria, I will go through the waggle with you. So if I get up here, there we go. So I got a template of Twinkle, and I am going to put up a variety of templates on the website which you can have a look at. Some are just PDFs, which means you would have to print it off and you'd write on it, because I don't think you can edit a PDF, or I don't know how to anyway. But I've also put up this one because this was a editable one. It was a Word document, so I put up this as well, with and without the pictures. So if you want to draw your own pictures, that's brilliant, do that, okay? But if not, then I've also put up a copy with the pictures that I've used on here. Okay, so it's up to you, and you can either do it on paper if you want, or on the computer, whatever's best, or you can even do it all yourself on a bit of paper. So you can draw the boxes yourself, you could do the drawings yourself, and you could write everything out yourself. Okay, it's whatever you want to do. I'm leaving it in your hands, so it's up to you. So I'll read it through and then we'll go through each part. One gloomy evening there was a mysterious creature who had terrifying yellow eyes, lurking in the murky water. The creature could smell something, so he frantically jumped out of the water. Splash! The slimy, snake-eyed creature crept towards the boy, who was sat around a blazing fire, roasting his appetizing marshmallows. Suddenly the boy turned around to face the towering beast. He seemed to be eyeing up the marshmallow. The young boy decided to give the creature some of his marshmallows. However, to his disappointment, he quickly ran out. Chomp! The creature soon realized there were no more marshmallows. Unexpectedly, the creature's face changed and it looked extremely angry. Amazingly, the boy had an idea. He rapidly ran to grab his pillow, which looked like a giant squishy marshmallow, and held it up to the creature. The curious creature stared at the pillow in awe and took it. As quick as a flash, the boy ran into the eerie forest to find help. Ah, someone help me! Happily, the creature went over to the fire to roast his marshmallow. He stared blissfully at the pillow as it warmed up. In the blink of an eye, the pillow burst into flames and disappeared into thin air. Sadly, the creature looked up into the starry night sky and thought about the delicious marshmallow he could have been eating. So that's just my comic strip. Obviously, you don't have to do the exact same as me. You can lay it out completely different if you want. It's up to you. Or you can do more boxes or less boxes, whichever one you want to do. But it was just to give you kind of an idea of the expectation. So as you can see in yellow are all my fronted adverbials. So there's quite a few of those throughout. And I did use the fronted adverbial map for that, so you can use that as well. Everything in purple is descriptive language, so I've used quite a few adjectives in there and adverbs to help, and onomatopoeias you can see in the blue here, so I've used those to kind of add to the comic strip. And then in the blue are my parentheses, so I've added quite a few in. Try and give it a go. Try and use at least one in your comic strip as a challenge. But don't worry about putting one in every box, because they're quite tricky sometimes to fit in, and I don't want you putting them in just for the sake of it. And I've also included some speech here, and because it's in a speech bubble, you don't necessarily need to put your speech marks, because it's already in a speech bubble, so it's like the boy is saying it. So I hope this video helped with your ideas. Like I said, don't worry if you want to lay it out completely different to mine, that's fine. Comic strips can be very different, so it's up to you what you want to do. This will be on the website for you to have a look at, and I'll look forward to seeing your final pieces.